I end up saying the same things over and over again. In the last 4 flights I did, I said the same thing to all 4 pilots. I'm Jason Miller, a full-time professional flight instructor. On the Finer Points channel, you can join me as I bring you tips and tricks that I've learned from 20 years on the flight line. Hello aviators, welcome back to the Finer Points. You know, as a working flight instructor with a popular YouTube channel, I get a lot of calls from you guys. Maybe once a month, somebody wants to come out, do one flight with me so that I can give them an overview and tell them, are they ready for a check ride or are they ready to solo? And what I find happens is I end up saying the same things over and over again. In the last 4 flights I did, I said the same thing to all 4 pilots. So in this video, I'm gonna tell you the things that I would probably say to you if you came and flew with me for 1 hour. And by the way, this is the reason why we put everything I know into the ground school app, is so that pilots all over the world can have the experience via video camera of flying the lessons that I would teach you. Okay, the first thing is you have to have some set of procedures, right? You can't be that guy that just looks at me in the run-up area and says, are you ready to go? And then keys the mic, right? There's gotta be some sort of pre-taxi briefing or taxi turns or pre-takeoff briefing or takeoff callouts or checklist usage, some level of procedures. And they don't have to be all of the procedures that I teach in the ground school app, as long as they work for you. It's just a box I'm gonna check. If you have no procedures at all, I would tell you to go study our procedures section in the ground school app. All right, the next thing is, I know this sounds small, but it calibrates the way I'm thinking. Is this pilot positioning the flight controls for the effects of wind? Or is this pilot simply taxiing along unaware of where the winds are coming from while they're operating on the ground? Now, rudder control is really important, and if we're only flying together for 1 hour or 2 hours, I have precious little time to figure out if you know how to use your feet. So one critical moment is during the takeoff roll. What happens when the airplane leaves the ground is, if you're not ready for it, it will yaw left. And if you've gotten this far in your training and you haven't figured out that when the airplane leaves the ground, it's gonna yaw left, and you're not able to think in front of it and smoothly apply a little right rudder as you leave the ground, that tells me a lot, all right? Watch this as my student is rolling down the runway. You can see right here, as the nose wheel leaves the ground and as the mains leave the ground, the airplane yaws to the left and he compensates with right aileron. Okay, that's extremely common. So if you're doing that, use caution, go to the ground school app and review our takeoff lesson. All right, also using the Lindbergh Reference, right? In a climb, you lose your reference to the horizon if you're looking forward, so you have to know where to look in the airplane to get the same information: pitch, yaw, and roll. And that place is the Lindbergh Reference. Let me show you something in the climb, because we have such precious little time together, okay?
Yeah, okay.
Let me show you something I noticed on the way out. If you're climbing in an airplane, you're gonna read about something in our app called the Lindbergh Reference.
Okay.
Look through here for a minute.
Okay.
I've got the flight controls, so put your feet flat on the floor. Watch when I let go of the rudder. You see how we're yawing?
Yeah.
Okay, so you can figure out how much rudder is required in a climb simply by looking right here. All the roll information you need, all the pitch information you need, and all the yaw information you need is right here through this thing called the Lindbergh Reference.
Okay.
So it's good to look in front of the plane. You got the horizon out there?
Yeah.
But when you lose the horizon, that is, it disappears, you didn't really lose it, it's just over here now.
Yeah.
Okay, and that reference is golden in a Cessna. So you got the flight controls now?
Okay.
So if you haven't seen our lesson on the Lindbergh Reference, again, get your free trial of the ground school app and check it out. Okay, what about a death grip on the yoke? Now, this is not something that I can fix in one flight, but there are a dozen problems downstream of this one particular problem. And most of them will show their face during the instrument rating. So as much as possible, I try to correct that problem with pilots, or at least give them something to think about when they go back and work with their regular CFI.
Yeah.
Can I show you one other thing, since we just have a little bit of time together? I don't get too naggy about it, but one of the things you should work on over time, and you might not want to do this before your check ride, I don't know, depends you and your instructor, but I see you have a fairly heavy grip on the yoke. That you're gonna pay for that on your instrument rating.
Oh, really?
Basically,
okay.
yeah. And what I would recommend is trying to find a way to figure out how this is really more like what you should be doing.
two or three fingers. And what we do is sort of thread a pen through your fingers to make it uncomfortable to grab like that. And just try to get yourself able to fly with, more like that, where you're not palming the whole thing.
Now, everything is not bad. Watch my most recent flight with this type of student. And during the level off, okay, he's leveling off in a turn. He was in a climbing right turn using the correct amount of rudder in the climbing right turn, which was also a point to note. But he has to level off in the turn, and he does not do this simply by pulling power. He actually creates the top of the hill, levels the airplane off, allows it to accelerate to something close to cruise speed, and then pulls the power back. Remember that if you are leveling off simply by pulling power with your nose high at 80 knots, over the next 5 or 10 minutes, you're going to have to accelerate out of that, and most pilots end up high. So if you're working on your instrument rating and you're consistently 200 feet high on your altitude, it's because of the way you're leveling off. So this is something that this particular pilot did really well. I scratched it off my list, but it's something I'd probably drill into if I only had a short amount of time with you. All right, aviators, there you go. You got the ground school app, so you don't need to come to California and fly with me. Of course, you're invited if you'd like to come, but use caution. I will probably notice the things we went through in this video. If you guys want an awesome Corsair shirt, please visit learnthefinerpoints.com. Remember, there is a free 3-day trial of our ground school app, and there's tons of bonus content on Patreon. If you're not an Apple user or you don't have an iPad, go to patreon.com/learntfp. Huge thanks to the sponsors. Remember that ForeFlight is the essential app for aviation online at foreflight.com. And when you renew your AOPA membership, you should select Pilot Protection Services. Leave me a comment below. Let me know if there's videos you'd like to see. I'm Jason Miller. You guys are the best fans on the internet. And until next time, be safe and fly your best.